Now let's understand about data types. So data types generally in any programming language is divided into two types: primitive, non-primitive. When they say primitive, it means mostly the data types which are like the standard ones or something like basic data types. That's what they mean. Non-primitive means based on this primitive, whatever it is built on top of it, those are called non-primitive sometimes or advanced data types. And Java, we have huge number of data types. Like if you see this table, you can easily understand that under primitive, we have boolean type and numeric type. Again, under numeric type, you have different types altogether, and each data type has its own importance. Now, these are the limits and the default sizes and the range of values they can allow on each data type. For example, if you look at character, the default value will be initialized to a Unicode character, all 4 zeros, and it is a 2 byte, and it can take any value from 0 to 255. Similarly, every data type has its own limit if you observe. Now coming to constants. So what exactly is a constant? Constant is any value which is fixed in nature. That means something which will not change. Something like a pi value. Pi value is 3.14, right? So that will never change. These kind of fixed value, if you want to create in your program, you can use this constant. And how do you create the constant in Java? You can use the static final and whatever data type you want to give, like integer, float, you can give, and you can give the variable name and value, and it automatically create a constant value for you, which can never change. Now, what is the advantage with this constant, for example, is this, for example, if you see this double rate here, it is declared as a constant. That means this 586.78 will remain as a fixed value and nobody can change it. Since you have static final as part of it, the advantage is nobody can change it and everybody can see the same value. Because of final, it is not possible to edit as well. And it has to be initialized as the part of the declaration also. You should not be doing after declaring then initializing. That means you cannot say static final double rate, then you want to initialize rate to something else. That is not possible. You have to do the value initialization while the declaration time itself. Now, apart from this, we are talking about just one constant value. What if you want to create a set of constant values? That's where the enumeration comes in. So the way to create enumeration is like that. So enumeration is nothing but where you can create a set of constant values. So you can see this enum colors of rainbow, there are like multiple constant values. All these are constant values which you can create just by using this keyword enum. And the way to access this is like either you can use this colors of the variable name dot values, which will get you all the constant, and you can put in this enhance for loop and it automatically prints that. But one thing to understand here is if ever you want to access any of the value, you can just say colors of rainbow dot violet, like that you can access all the values. Now what is the literal? Literal is actually more of a fixed value, just that on the source code side of it. Like for example, if you see here, the product equivalent 800, this 800 is the value. Just one difference is like it is a fixed value altogether, but you can change it whenever you want. And these are all assigned mostly to your primitive data types, all the basic standard data types we have. Now, let's talk about convention. So what exactly is convention? Convention means some rules we follow as a best practice. Okay, rather than saying I will do this route, you will follow the route where most of them think or considered as best practice. You will follow that route. Like simply saying, like let's say people have said we have to walk this way, you will all walk in the same thing. We will not walk in a twisted manner because everybody conventionally it is identified that walking straight is the best way. It is not like you walk twisted manner, people will look at it differently. That is a convention. It doesn't mean that you cannot walk in a twisted way, just like snake and all, right? So the convention here is nothing but a set of rules or principles people consider that it is good to have, and if people follow, it has its own benefit. That is what the convention is. Like for example, if you see, everything has a convention in Java. Like for example, starting with class, package, variable, constant, method, everything has set of rules. And if you follow, it has a good amount of benefits. Even if you don't follow, there's nothing wrong in it. But understand, when you are in industry, you are supposed to follow all these good practices so that when you write the code, it will be full of best practices and it will be foolproof and it will not let anybody point out that you haven't followed the best practices and all. So it will make the code more readable. That is what the overall objective is. Now, first rule, every identifier. When I say identifier, it could be a class name, it could be a function name, it could be a method name, it could be a variable name, any variable name or anything like that. It must always begin with a letter. Okay. Or if required, after beginning with the letter, if required, it can have two special characters, either the dollar or underscore. That is the only thing allowed. And after the first character, you can have any number of combinations of letters, digits, or this dollar underscore. That's all. And you cannot have any special character beyond these two. And these all identifiers are case sensitive. When I say case sensitive, there is a difference between small a and capital A. And reserved words, that means reserved words like enum or reserved word like static, they should not be used as identifiers. That is another rule to remember. Now, these are additional set of conventions. All your long names, like for example, let's say I'm writing a code like get product name. So when you say get product name, Java follows this camel casing, which means you can write this get with G small, product name with P capital, and product details D capital. So that means G small get product P capitals and details D capitals. So this is called camel case. This is the convention Java follows. So that is one convention you can follow so that it looks more readable. And all the constants you have to write in uppercase. This is another convention. And if at all the constant is big in nature, you can separate it with underscore. Let's say you have a constant called pi value. You can put everything in uppercase and you can say pi underscore value. And all the object names which you create, like instances of a class, they should be declared in a log class, lower class. And if at all they are big in nature, you can still use the camel casing. You can see the camel casing. The first letter is small and the other words followed of which will have a capital letter. And all the packages must be in lowercase. And if they are, the big enough, and if they want to separate it, you can always separate by using dot.